November 30th, 2004. Denmark is usually a cold country, but that day is freezing cold in Grindsted, a small rural town near Billund. Our main character, Kjeld, is in the forest house of his business partner, Bent. This is likely the loneliest day of his life. He listens while the three executives on the other side of the board are churning out various reasons why he should sell his company. Reasons that are rational and annoyingly pertinent to his financial context, but that are not affecting his thoughts. He's already made up his mind. He stares at the raindrops on the window of the house as the three men wrap up their analysis with a satisfied smirk on their face and a concrete proposition. $1.7 billion. This is how much they value the company. Kjeld is resolute. He refuses to agree with the executives, and with a firm belief in his family-owned business, he escorts them out of the house. Did he make the right decision? It was impossible to tell back then, but it's quite apparent now. His company has made at least $1.7 billion just in operating profits in each of the last 5 years. Who's Kjeld, you may ask? His last name is Christiansen, and he is the grandson of Ole Christiansen, the legendary founder of one of the largest company Denmark has ever had, Lego. More than 15 years after that meeting with Morgan Stanley's executives, Lego has managed to get back on its feet and has become the world's largest toy company, with an operating income that in 2019 was greater than that of its three main competitors, Mattel, Hasbro and Bandai Namco combined together. But how? How can a simple product like a plastic brick give birth to such a behemoth? This was the question that I had set out to answer throughout my research, which started after realizing that Lego's patents over the classic designs, like the iconic bricks and minifigures, had vanished more than 20 years ago. That basically means that every company can start producing knockoff products today without incurring penalties and/or trademark-related fines. Yet, none of the companies that tried that experienced similar success, even though they managed to position themselves at a lower price level. And believe me, they have tried in any conceivable way, even by obnoxiously changing just a single letter on the cover of the set. Well tried, Lepin. So, what have I found out? What follows isn't intended as an exhaustive summary, but there are a few principles that surfaced again and again in Lego's turnaround story. First, quality, and for good reason. When you pick up a Lego brick, it is almost identical to the ones created more than 60 years ago. They are made with such precision that they stick together like glue, yet come easily apart to follow your imagination and be part of something new. The molding process is so accurate that just 18 elements out of every million do not pass the company's high quality standard, which has a margin of error of just 2 microns. And they are rock solid too. In 2012, BBC asked Open University's engineering students to quantify the number of Lego bricks it would take to destroy the bottom brick if they were to stack each one on top of the other. According to their calculations, it would take 375,000 bricks to cause the bottom one to collapse, which is to say 3,591 meters tall, more than 4 times the height of the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. The issue with high quality though is that it often slows down the production. Well, not for LEGO. It just so happens that the Danish company is uniquely able to deliver top-class products at full speed. And by full speed I mean approximately 70 billion bricks a year. But it wasn't always like that. In fact, this is probably the single most important factor that has allowed the company to turn around after 2004 under the enlightening guide of Jürgen Vig Knudstorp, a former McKinsey consultant that was named CEO just 2 months before that rainy day in Grinstead, at just 36 years of age. After warning the management in 2003, claiming that LEGO was, and quote, a burning platform, he was assigned to put out the fire. And he did it miraculously. He doubled down on the few successful products the company had in its portfolio and overhauled the supply chain. He reduced the development time for new toys by up to 50%. Before his arrival, it could take years. After, new products started to move from idea to box in as little as a year. He cut the logistics providers from 26 to 4, which in and of itself helps save more than 10% in transportation costs. Ultimately, he wiped out most of the suppliers. Up until that point, LEGO had more than 11,000 of them. For comparison, that's twice as many as Boeing uses to build an airplane. Can you believe that? All in all, this reorganization helped the company save on costs, increase volume, and speed up productivity. Features that are especially needed when approximately 60% of the portfolio is changing each year. Yes, you've heard that right. Every year the company is renovating more than half of its products. Of course, the basic component is always the same. It's brick. But a brick is just a piece of plastic, no matter how accurately molded. This is where the power of storytelling comes into play. Enter Jens Knudsen, a Danish designer who has worked at LEGO for 32 years. He is the unsung hero who gave the world its first minifigure back in 1979. Together with the creation of the first brick, this is likely the most important event in LEGO's history, because it enabled the company to start attaching meaning and stories to its sets. It brought life to children's plastic worlds. Most of you will remember the LEGO Movie, a computer animated film produced together with Warner Bros. Pictures that hit the theaters in 2014 and grossed $468 million worldwide against its $60 million budget. But this was when the company was in good health. Storytelling was actually what saved the company in its darkest hour. From 2003 to 2006, the Bionicle product line ranked always among the top 3 selling items, captured children's imagination, amassed millions of dollars in sales, and provided an invaluable lifeline to LEGO. Together with Harry Potter and Star Wars licensed sets, which brings up an additional line of reasoning. Sometimes it makes more sense to borrow stories rather than write them. It costs more money, I grant you that. But if these stories already have a warm spot in your customers' hearts, then it's usually a win-win partnership. This is what Mr. Knutstorp and the new management realized and where they bet. The first time LEGO reported how much it was spending on license and royalty expenses was in 2003, 4 years after its first venture with George Lucas and the Star Wars brand. The sum amounted to roughly $40 million. Fast forward to today, LEGO is spending more than $440 million a year, for a percentage increase of more than 1000%. Lutz Müller, an independent toy analyst, has estimated that 60% of LEGO's American sales were linked to licenses back in 2009. No wonder why the company is happily welcoming in its roster a new superstar.
It's me, Mario!
With an entirely new play experience blending digital and physical play. There is another new entry that is worth pointing out, and that is Monkey Kid, the first theme designed around Chinese folklore so as to embrace the community in a truly globalized way. And there's our fourth keyword, community. Without it, success is not attainable. That is why LEGO is constantly increasing its presence, both digitally and physically. In 2019, the company opened almost 150 branded stores around the world. This year, in spite of the pandemic, it opened 46 retail stores in the first 6 months, and it's on track to reach a grand total of 690 stores by the end of the year. Not to mention Legoland, a chain of 8 family theme parks which in 2019 attracted more than 15 million visitors. Quality, speed, storytelling, community. These are the driving forces behind the LEGO miraculous comeback story. From a rainy day in Grinstead to an awesome day in Bricksburg. If you made it to the end, I owe you a big thank you. I don't know how you ended up here since this is my first video, but I appreciate the time you spent listening to my story, which I hope was entertaining. If you're interested in the subject, every source that I have used is linked in the description box below. What do you love about LEGO? Be sure to let me know in the comment section.